Guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another video of ours, Premier Division show, looking ahead to the games at the weekend. All 5 games are on Friday. Why? Because we've got 5 games on Monday as well. We'll talk about them at a later date. I'll probably do a situation where I look back at the 5 games on Saturday, probably. And then I'm not going to look ahead to the games as such on Monday. Because of that, I'll just review the games on Monday. That's probably the best thing to do in that particular scenario. Let me know what you think about that in the comments if you have any qualms about that, I suppose. But on to the games, and look, every week it's mouth-watering in my opinion. I really get excited about this league and these games. Cork City, Bohemians from Turner's Cross. Cork City's second home game of the season. Of course, the game against Shamrock Rovers was controversially postponed, wasn't it, at Tallaght Stadium. Bohs will have their second away game on the bounce. They haven't played a Dalymount this season, of course. Haven't played the Aviva in the opening day of the season against Shamrock Rovers, and that win, beaten at Derry. Cork City come into the game with a lot of confidence, I think. Unless there's injuries, I think they'll probably go with the same team that featured in that first game of the season, obviously, when they drew 2-2 with Galway. Will the 2-week break help them or impact them negatively is the question. It's hard to know. I do think the Turner's Cross crowd will get behind them, which will help. So being at home probably helps, actually, to be fair. And they look to play with the same verve that they did, I think, against Galway. They should have beaten Galway, actually, at Turner's Cross, being honest with you. Bohs will have to and look to improve on their performance at the Brandywell against Derry City. It was a little bit limp, I suppose, might be the word for it. And so many of these games, you look at the fixtures and, you know, no different with this game as well. Like, if Cork play bad, Bohs play well, Bohs will win. If Bohs play bad, Cork play well, Cork will win. The question is, if they both play bad, if they both play well, what happens there? Probably a draw. But up front, they're a big threat, aren't they, Cork City? I've talked about it before. Maguire, obviously, Keating, but also players like Dyke Steele, you know, Cathal O'Sullivan, Alex Nolan can come into the mix as well. So they've got good options, I think, Cork, going forward. In midfield, keep an eye out for Shipson. I think he looks a good player. He's playing alongside Greg Bolger, and he's on set pieces too. Bohs, for their part, possibly Dale Rooney comes in for Rhys Brennan. I don't see Rhys Brennan playing every week. I don't think he played poorly in the game against Derry, but I could possibly see that change. Cornwall came out at half time. I'm not hearing anything extra on what the injury was, excuse me, or anything like that. I do suffer from heartburn quite a bit, by the way. So if anyone has any suggestions in the comments, not Gaviscon or anything like that, doesn't really work. Don't know why. But anyway, the video isn't sponsored by Gaviscon. But anyway, back to Bohs, and yeah, I think they'll continue with the same side generally, apart from that possibly. Now, the argument again, does Mousset start? Maybe Whelan gets a start. Let me know what you think about that, actually. If you're a Bohs fan, haven't seen Mousset in the first 2 games, do you start him or do you start Colin Whelan? What's your opinion? One interesting thing is that James Clark seems to be completely frozen out, doesn't he, at the moment, which is strange because he signed a new contract. I thought he was on the way out of the club. Surprisingly signed a new contract for me, and he seems to be frozen out here at Bohs. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're Bohs fans. What are your thoughts on that, actually? It's difficult to see Bohs go to a different midfield, isn't it? Obviously, Devoy, Moran and Tierney as a number 10 pretty much. So I can't see many changes there. Prediction-wise, what am I going for? I'll go for Cork City 1, Bohemians 1. Let me know what you think in the comments. Throw us your predictions. Now at the Brandywell, Derry City take on Waterford FC, and Waterford were hammered practically every time they played Derry City last season. Derry City beat them 4 times in a row, gave them a few hidings, to be fair. So Waterford fans may not be looking forward to this trip to the Brandywell. Derry City will be delighted with the 3 points against Bohs and will feel that they've a good opportunity to pick up another 3 points at the Brandywell. They're going to have to make it a fortress. Kevin Holt, very interesting sign, spoke about in the last show. Be interested to see if he starts alongside Mark Connolly. He's certainly fit enough. Very interesting signing, 32 years of age, bags of experience. But it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, not many players in the League of Ireland move from a team like Dundee United in Scotland, who are doing quite well in the SPL and playing regularly, and in fact captaining the side, to join a League of Ireland club. It does not happen. There's no doubt that Kevin is on decent money, let's say, at Derry City. But a very interesting signing. Could be a threat from set pieces too. Um, I think he'll probably start this game. I think he'll jump straight in, to be honest with you. I think Tiernan Lynch will stick with the formation that he played against Bows as opposed to the formation that played against Shelbourne, if I'm honest. I think he'll stick with his formation. Will he stick with Boyce up front, though? Will he go again? I think he probably will. He has options, though, hasn't he? Hooban, Patton. I think Mullen is still injured. But I think he'll probably go with the midfield three again, to be honest. I'll stick with Winchester, O'Reilly and Diallo. I don't see too many changes there. So systematically, formation-wise, don't see them changing. Same can be said for Waterford. I think he'll stick with the three at the back, two wing-backs. Ryan Burke, of course, is suspended following his red card against Shelbourne. So I sense Darragh Leahy will probably play left wing-back. And Horton, if he's available, will come back into the side at centre-back too. McCormack, will he come back into the side if available? He missed out last week, an injury. McMenemy came in. Will McMenemy start the game? That's going to be an interesting one. But probably stick with the two up front, with Lonergan and Hammond again. They'll be looking for goals from them. But Keith Long will be looking for a better performance than they had against Derry City last season. Even outside of that, I find it difficult to see Derry City not winning this game, making it 2 wins on the bounce, which be a big boost for them, actually. I'll go for Derry City 2, Waterford FC 0. Give us your predictions in the comments. Now, at United Park, Sullivan and Lamb Park. Drogheda United take on Galway United, and they had a mad game here last season when Drogheda were 2-1 up. They'll forgive me, they might not forgive me actually for saying this, and Galway got 2 stoppage time goals to win the game 3-2, and a fantastic win for the tribesmen. Drogheda have started the season brilliantly. 2 clean sheets, 4 points. Galway have started it very well. 4 points from their opening 2 games and 4 goals. They look like more goals in the team this year as well, has to be said. Patrick Hickey started off brilliantly, top scorer now in the league with 3 goals. None of their strikers have scored though. Stephen Walsh hasn't scored and Moses Dyer hasn't scored in the 2 games. Both have started up front. I don't see a change there though. I think he'll go the same again. They'll stick with their 3 at the back system, I believe. Suez playing brilliantly at right wing back for Galway United, by the way, in the opening weeks of the season. And this is going to be interesting because it's system versus system in regards. Both teams play 3 at the back and 2 wing backs. They don't exactly play the same way, but it's very similar systematically. Bawa has played behind Josh Thomas in the first 2 games. There's an argument that Alua could come in, I think, ahead of Bawa possibly. Douglas, James Taylor still out, I believe. So I don't see a change there. So be interesting. Both teams work extremely hard on and off the ball. I think this could be a really good game at Sullivan Lamb Park. I don't see any changes for either side once everyone is fit and available. I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think this is a tough one to predict. I really do. Both teams unbeaten. Both teams have 4 points. Drogheda were very good against Sligo Rovers. Galway were very good against St Patrick's Athletic. It could go either way, but I'm going to sit in the fence on this one. I'm going to go Drogheda United 1, Galway United 1. Now, Talca Park, I suppose, the game of the weekend. On paper, Shelbourne will take on Shamrock Rovers. Of course, Shelbourne have started off brilliantly. The only team with a 100% record after 2 games. Shamrock Rovers have only played 1 match, obviously, after that postponement against Cork City at Tallaght Stadium, and obviously they were beaten the first game against Bohemians. So a tough start for them in many ways now, isn't it? The fact that you've Bows away as such, it was at the Aviva, but it was an away match, and Shelbourne, 2 tough Dublin derbies ultimately now to open the season for Shamrock Rovers. But they have a bit of a break, something they haven't had in the last couple of weeks, and might help them clear up a few injuries, the likes of Trevor Clark, Danny Mandrew, Graham Burke went off in the last game, Hoonahan, Gary O'Neill. Those players probably needed a bit of a break in a sense and need to be managed coming into the week. It's very difficult to choose or say who's going to start for Shamrock Rovers as a result though. I'd imagine Dan Cleary and Dylan Watts will come back into the side because they were only suspended for the game against Molde in Europe. So they'd come back into the side. So they'll probably have Cleary, Pico Lopez, and Grace as their usual back three, which means they can move Josh Hounahan out to right wing back, who's very strong out there. They'll hope to have Clark back in there. I'm not sure he will be available. Will they go with Corey O'Sullivan again? Will Victor play? Look sharp against Molde. And then in midfield, obviously they'll hope that Mandrew's there. Matt Healy, I'm sure, will play. Very good in that Molde game. Really good player. And up front, Gaffney's back. I won't be shocked if he started the game. He'd probably start with Noonan. But I won't be shocked if Gaffney starts this game. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're a Shamrock Rovers fan. But they'll hope to have him back very quickly because it's tough for Noonan. He's had a tough time in terms of having to play 3 games on the spin in a short space of time for a 16-year-old. And he's done quite well, by the way. But you need to take that pressure off him as well a little bit. Shells, don't see any changes. I know they signed Norris from Liverpool on loan, but they kept a clean sheet in the last game. It's difficult to see them changing that. Ledwidge at left back. The centre half's obviously been Bone and Barrett. So obviously Gannon at right back as well. But I don't think he'll change that. It wouldn't be a shock maybe if he brought Norris in and puts Ledwidge centre back. But it's a lot of changes, isn't it? To a team that's settled well at the moment. McEnroy will probably play midfield. He's keeping Lunny out at the moment, which is good for Shells because they've got 3 good options, you feel, in the middle of the park with Kyle, Lunny and McEnroy now. Look, up front they're a handful, aren't they? Meepo and Boyd have a real understanding early doors, and Shamrock Rovers are going to have to keep an eye on them big time. If Shamrock Rovers can curtail them a little bit, it might go a long way to Rovers getting a result out of the game, be it a draw or a win. It's a difficult one to predict at Talcott Park, and I hate doing this, but this is my 3rd draw from 4. But I think it'll be a good game, this. I'm going to go Shelbourne 2, Shamrock Rovers 2. I think this is a live game as well, actually. Richmond Park, this is the game I'm going to be vlogging. It's St Patrick's Athletic and Sligo Rovers. And I vlogged Sligo Rovers last week, so I'm going to get a serious look at them in the last few weeks. In fact, I watched the game in full against Waterford. So for the 3rd week in the bounce, I'm going to see Sligo Rovers for 90 minutes, basically. 2 up close and once on TV. They've had a tough start, haven't they? I've talked about the performances in the first and second half against Waterford and that, but they were disappointed with the result. Against Drogheda, they weren't great at all. A lot of the ball in that second half, I mentioned in the previous show, but I can see them making a couple of changes here. It's tough because they've got options up front. They're playing one up front generally, but they've got Kavanagh, Eldin, Warawu and Lamboto. Now Lamboto, I would argue, can play wide. Eldin can play wide and did play wide in the last match. Fitzgerald playing the left. But will they stick with Keane Kavanagh? Or will they try something else and maybe go with a Lamboto or something like that? That's the question here. The midfield, I think Mali will play and Hayes will play again, to be honest. He only made his debut last week and I think he'll play in this game again, bit of continuity. They could easily bring Van Houten in as well and play him on the wing. Be interested to see if they do that and drop Eldin to the bench. That's a possibility. But they'll be looking for a better performance at Richmond Park. Pats haven't started off well at all. From a Pats point of view, they'll probably go into the game thinking they could do with winning this game, to be fair. Pats play Derry on Monday as well, but they're fortunate in the fact that they're the only team who have a home match Friday and Monday. So there's no excuses in that regard. Waterford scored 3, Sligo conceded 3 against Drogheda. A bit of pressure on Pats coming into this game, having only 1 point from the previous 2 games. So a little bit of pressure on Pats to get a win here, if I'm honest. And some would say in style, but certainly get a win. Their team selection was a bit strange, I thought, against Galway, but most of them were forced, so it'll be interesting to see. It's very hard to call their team. Forrester, will he come into the team? Hasn't been fit at the start of the season. Do they start him? Is Lennon fit and available again? Because I think Stephen Kenny will probably go with Lennon and Forrester as the trusted 2, if they're fit and available. But there's question marks over that. Shelbourne didn't start the last day. They were missing Sean Horg, or Vossi didn't start. Luke Turner played. I'm sure Kenny if Gravossi's fully fit and Hoare are fit, at least one of them is going to start alongside Joe Redmond. So it's been a messy start for Pats in terms of selection, as such, you know. Of course, Aidan Keane will play up front. He scored a brilliant goal last week. And I imagine Mulroney and Elbazetti will go again. A bit of a messy start in that regard for Pats, and but they need to start getting results soon. I think if you're going to be winning a title, they're going to need a couple of positive results. I would say from Friday and Monday, probably 4 points anyway. So it's an interesting game. If Pats play the way they're capable of playing, I only see one winner, but they haven't done that in the opening 2 matches. Sligo Rovers haven't been good either, but I think I'm going to go for Pats to win this one, but I think it'd be a nervous victory. St. Patrick's Day 2, Sligo Rovers 1. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Give us a few predictions. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed before. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.